Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching Barry, Season 3, Episode 4, All the Sauces.
I want all the sauces.
I love it. I don't want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, but I kind of do want to try all the sauces.
I don't, because I don't like spicy things.
That's
so
true.
I don't.
I do like spicy things.
Yeah, one of the very few times in my life that I've ever had to send food back was at a Buffalo Wild Wings.
It's too spicy?
It's because I ordered like the most basic of all the sauces, and they brought me out the most spicy of all the sauces. They switched the buckets on accident.
By accident.
Yeah. And so when the waitress came over, I was like, I'm so sorry. I never do this. I physically can't eat this. And she was like, oh my God, it's fine. She goes, is it like too spicy? And I was like, yeah. And is it weird? Like, do people complain about the basic one? She was like, no. And she was like, let me go check. And she came back. She goes, this is our fault. We're so sorry. And I was like, it's okay. I'm just glad that it wasn't me. I was going to feel really dumb.
Yeah. I also just realized that I hate buffalo sauce, so maybe I don't want to try all the sauces.
No.
I like sauce. I want to know what they taste like, except the buffalo. Okay. Barry is with Hank, and they're trying to figure out this bomb thing, and it's just like sitting out in the parking lot. So the bomb is speaking Chechen. We don't know what it's saying. It sounds hella weird and spooky, but it is like a gentle woman's voice, like the voice at Disney World that tells you to watch your step when you get out of the monorail.
Oh, I thought it sounded like a man. Like a soft-spoken man. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Either way, it's very like, please mind your step when you exit the doors. So either way, they basically are like, okay, we like need you to do it. You have to do it like at this time before 5 because Cristobal will be in his Pilates class and we need him out of the house while it goes off. And then I think the funniest part of this episode is that NoHo Hank downloads a detonator app on Barry's phone.
And walks through location settings on always. Can you use my data for surveys? Absolutely. Like, this seems suspect AF, my guy.
Super suspect. Also, I just love that there's an app for that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, are you surprised?
Well,
I feel like this is, it would make sense to me.
So it's to the point, basically. Barry pulls up and he's like, he pays the little lemonade girls a bunch of money and then is like, go inside. And so they do. But then it won't detonate. And so he is there for either hours or he came back later because it's full dark when.
Well, he wouldn't change.
Yeah.
Well, he could have had it in the
back
suit
seat.
in the car. Yeah.
Either way, he has to get on customer service with the detonator app, give them his information, all of this stuff. And then she's like, why don't you turn the Wi-Fi off? That could be interfering with it. But it's a whole thing. It's so ridiculous. I loved every second of it, though.
Me too.
So fun. It also is like, it first of all feels like such a Los Angeles thing. And it feels like such an American thing. Because that was also an American woman on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like, they're not outsourcing customer service anywhere.
No,
it's here.
Yeah, I feel like it's about right.
So I feel like the detonator app is like a startup.
Probably.
Like a California startup.
Probably.
So basically, the bomb essentially goes off as Fernando is confronting Cristobal because he's like, I think you're cheating on my daughter, which doy. And also I know that you're like fucking around. Like you're not doing the job that you've been sent here for. But the other guys can hear the bomb under the floor because it's ticking and speaking in Chechen.
Yeah, because when Barry like put it in the crawl space, he hits it and it starts to say something different.
Speaking different. So funny, so weirdly stressful, but also I was like, there's no way they're gonna kill Cristobal. So I was like, I'm not scared necessarily, but
I was very nervous.
I was like, ugh. So once Fernando realizes something's going on and he turns around, Cristobal runs for the door, and that's when we cut outside and it explodes. But it turns out he's fine.
And the girl on the phone was like, sounds like it works.
Sounds like everything's great. Congratulations.
Have a great day.
Next time. Incredible. I mean, also boss customer service.
Yeah, really.
From what sounds like a startup app. And then Barry starts driving away, and then Cristobal is like in the street and he's like super spooked. So he brings Cristobal back to Hank. who is very like, oh my God, like, I'm so glad you're in. He's like, thank you, Barry. And he gives him a huge sack of cash. We can then go back to the beginning because a lot of stuff is like happening at the same time and then converging. So we'll go back to the beginning. Mr. Cousineau's freaking out. He's packed all the bags. Leo comes in. He's like, we have to leave immediately. He picks up the suitcases. Everything falls out the bottom. Like, how long have those suitcases been sitting there that the hinges just completely gave up?
Or that they're just dry rotted on the bottom.
Completely garbage. So he's like, I'm going to go get more suitcases. You pack up for you, pack up for the kid. We got to go. And as he's leaving, Fred Melamed comes in, who is amazing. His name's Tom, and he is apparently Jean's agent.
I'm very surprised that Jean has an agent still.
Me too.
Very surprised.
So I feel like it's sort of like he's his agent.
Yeah, where they're just their buddies.
But they're just like friends. Yeah. Regardless, it was very fun. I'm always happy to see Fred Melamed. He's the he was like Vision's boss in that first episode of WandaVision.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when that came over for dinner. And he's in some episodes of New Girl where he's like on like Schmidt's side of the wedding party. It's like fun. He's great. He pops up and everything. I think he's awesome. He's sort of like, for me, in between Richard Kind and the guy you've never seen Groundhog Day, Ned Ryerson from Groundhog Day. He's like in that pinnacle for me. So he basically goes with him because, as someone said in our comments last week, thank you very much. Actually, let me shout you out. I should have kept it pulled up, but I did not. Sammy Bear 710 said, I hope the director of the Law Show loves what Jean did and gives him a bigger part. That would be hilarious. That is exactly what happens. He basically, that's what Tom has come to speak to him about, that he got a bigger part because they loved the hell he kind of went off the rails and told Barry to go fuck himself. And it's a huge deal. Everyone's so excited. And the whole time, Jean is just like, nope, I can't. I have to leave.
I gotta leave LA.
We're leaving LA. I'm never coming back. I've made some people angry, some like specific people angry, like all of it. And the whole time, then we like cut in between different locations of Tom just relaying all of the terrible things that other people have called him and that he's called other people. Apparently, Rob Reiner called him a fuck.
And that was the one that really set Jean. He was like, who called me a fuck?
Like, Rob Reiner, 1984. And I was just like, all right, man, that's fine. So while they're at the store picking out new luggage, they run into Joe Montana playing himself. He looks
so good.
Amazing.
Yeah, really good.
A silver fox if ever there was one. I don't know. He looks like he's like gotten fit, his hair, everything about it. Apparently he has a restraining order against Jean, but he's breaking it to say thank you for what Jean is doing for veterans. Barry specifically, because there's a piece in Variety about Barry.
I think one of my favorite things about this show is that everyone just fails so spectacularly that just ass up. You know what I mean? Like making it all the way to the fucking top.
Which I have something to say about that once we get to the Sally part.
Okay.
So it's basically this whole thing about how, like, through Jean's, like, help and wisdom and, like, all of
basically
this.
the monologue that Barry gave that casting director.
Yeah.
Like, explaining Jean Cousineau, like, what he did.
And so it's, like, Jean is kind of on the map again. And Tom even says, he's like, it's the collective amnesia we've been praying for. I mean, no.
Yeah.
It works. So,
I mean, if it's the second chance, I mean, it's obviously been initiated by Barry, but like if Jean can get this second chance without having to be taken hostage effectively, then I mean,
why not? We end the Jean part with him going back home. He's got the suitcases. Leo's almost ready. Barry's in the dining room. And he basically is like, I'm sorry that I took you hostage. And then he gives him the sack of money that Noho Hank gave him. And he was like, this is for Leo and your grandson. I'm sorry. And he was like, so my family's safe? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, you'll never have to see me again. And then he leaves. But I'm curious how he's going to explain the sack of money to Leo. Because Leo was like,
yeah,
what's
I don't know.
This? So the other main thing in this episode is that it's Sally's premiere. Because, and this is what I want to say, which is that everyone else is failing upwards, but Sally has worked for it.
Yes.
Like, she's awful, but she put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think I was thinking about it while I was finishing getting ready. And I love that Sally is the one who got successful, because if Barry were the one to succeed at acting, it would be so unrealistic.
Yeah, that would also hurt my feelings a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we know that he can do it.
Yeah.
If pressed, and if he has just murdered somebody that he didn't want to murder and stuff like that. But I do love that Sally is the one that made it. Because, like I said, she did put the work in, and she's trying, and she, no matter how affected it is, she is putting her life out there for consumption. So her dress is so cute.
She looked really good.
I love that dress. And you were obsessed with Elsie's little suit.
My God.
Also so cute.
Give me a tuxedo. I will wear it with bells on.
All the time.
Yes.
She has to make a speech. Did you want to talk about
how
many note cards she has?
It was like this thick. And I didn't realize it at first when she was cycling through it, but when she
stacked them.
Oh my, that's too many cards for an introduction speech to your show. Yeah.
She also then kind of totally biffs it.
Oh my God. The whole time, I'm like, you mean to tell me that you have not been practicing for this moment
over and over
every day for your entire life? And you finally get there. And I mean, I'm sure, yes, absolutely. It's like just now hitting you, but like you are biffing it like also, no other.
Both Natalie and Barry, because she starts off this thing where she's like, I didn't make Joplin for the like awards. I made it for glory for this little girl in Missouri. And fucking Natalie goes off on this like dream.
Except her name is Abigail, and we call her Sweetie because her grandma had a lisp. And she was like, okay, Sweetie, it's time to milk the cows.
Oh, whole thing. And she goes, Jesus Christ, Natalie, no, the little girl is me. And she was like, oh, right.
Well, she goes, your name is Sweetie? Yeah. Like, we are not spitballing for like a new character, no. Natalie. What are you doing?
So then we hear her later while Barry is still trying to figure out the bomb. She's like reading it to him, too. And he's like, oh, who's the little girl? And she goes, Jesus Christ, it's me. I'm the little girl. I love those moments, too, because it's so, like, it's so clear in Sally's mind. And so, therefore, it is clear to me as well. But nobody around her ever has it, like the royal me, I guess, as the viewer. Like, we know what she's talking about, but nobody else she's interacting with is ever clear on what she's saying. And it must be so frustrating. Anyway, before she goes on stage, they find out that the embargo lifted and the show...
Did Natalie call it the Enfuego?
Oh, I don't know.
No, she did. She was like, the Enfuego lifted on the show. And Lindsay was like, it's embargo, Natalie. Embargo.
Okay, embargo. The embargo lifted. Joplin has a 98%. And so that's why she basically loses her shit while she's saying her speech. But that's amazing. She's doing great. And that's why I'm like, it needs to be Sally and it needs to be Gene. Yeah. Because they have, like, Gene has dedicated his whole life to the craft of acting.
Yeah. I mean, they suck as people, but they've done the work. So they should be able to reap the reward for all of the oats they sowed.
Yeah. So Sally then gets played off at her own premiere.
I didn't know you could get played off at a premiere.
So funny.
Oh my God.
And then she's like outside essentially and just sort of basking in it. And Elsie, I keep on saying Katie comes up to her and is like, hey, and she just sort of word vomits. She's like, Barry is a violent person. Like, I don't feel safe. He yelled at you. That wasn't cool. It was bad. I think he's a violent guy. And you can't totally tell what Sally's gonna do with that information.
Well, because her first response is he had a bad day.
Yeah.
And so then Katie is just like, no, like, I think he's a bad guy. He's a violent person. That's not okay. And she was like, I look up to you so much and I'm sorry. And then she like runs away. And then like Sally just stands there. Like,
I love it. I again think Sarah Goldberg is doing so much with this character. And that's not even because sometimes I say, sometimes we all say she's doing more than what's on the page. And I don't think she's doing more than what's on the page because I believe these pages are full of what they need to be.
Yeah.
But she's doing so much with what she's given. And I think that she's just really great. And I'm like sort of shocked she never hit in anything really before this. So go Sarah Goldberg. And then she's outside talking to Lindsay and Natalie, and she sees Barry, and she goes up to him, and they have a nice little exchange. Sort of, he's like, I'm really sorry. Like, fuck, you look really great and all this stuff. And she just is like, nope, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see it.
I know. It really surprised me.
Me too.
But it was when she was like, you made me go back to a place I swore I would never go again.
Yep.
And I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of her.
Love it.
Because I really didn't see that coming
Me
at
neither.
all. I thought for sure she was going to get wrapped up in the cycle again.
Well, and I love how it came from essentially herself.
Yeah.
Like coming from Katie, who is playing a younger version of herself. Mm-hmm. And she's like, this is what it looks like from the outside. And if maybe only somebody from when Sally was in that abusive relationship had been like, you know,
well, yeah,
this looks bad.
I just got chills. That's actually a really, really good observation because presumably Katie's probably 18.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's when Sally got married to Sam was when she was 18.
Yeah.
So effectively 18-year-old Sally is telling late 20s, early 30s Sally, like, no, this is not good.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad she listened.
Yeah.
That wow.
I would have loved a moment where she acknowledged what she did after he yelled at her, where she like got him spaghetti and like a new game console and everything. And maybe we will, but like, because that was glaring to me.
Yeah.
That reaction was glaring to me. But regardless, it's great. She basically was like, I'm staying the night at Natalie's. I need you to go pack up your things and move out. I loved it. I was so happy.
Me too.
With the way that ended.
Oh, and I love that Barry's reaction was like, I had a bad day. You're not going to dump me because I had a bad day. It's like, okay.
So he definitely, I'm not trying to like super defend Barry, but we've discussed it before. I don't think he is an inherently violent person. I think he's gotten caught up in all of this stuff and he's good at it, but I also don't think he likes doing it. Because when we started the show, he was depressed about being a mercenary,
right,
essentially.
Right.
And I think he doesn't like doing it. And he was having a bad day. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not making excuses. He shouldn't have yelled at her like that. And most especially not in front of all of her employees at work, you know?
I think his mental boundaries are getting confused because
he's all fuzzy.
Yeah, because before, while he was sad about it, he had his firm boundaries of what he would and wouldn't do.
100%.
And I think because he was in a bad mental space, that
having kidnapped Jean and everything. Yeah.
And so I think his boundary because I don't think had he been in his normal mind space, I don't think that would have happened.
100%. And that's the thing where, again, I don't want to defend him. That's bad behavior. And I love Sally standing up for herself. On the other hand, Barry is the hero of our show. Right. And so it's a very like, you know, not everybody has all of the information, obviously, in which, you know, I mean, Sally would clearly still run for the hills if she knew he were like a murderer for hire. But it also informs everything about where his headspace was in that moment. And so I don't know. I really like TV shows like this that make you think.
Yes, me too.
So, okay. The last thing is that Fuchs is back in America.
Fucking Fuchs, man. Ugh.
I just love Stephen Root so much. And he's like really making me like, he's making me root for Fuchs's failure.
Yeah, I want him to get shot in the face.
So
he's out there peddling Kenneth Goulet again.
So he's being Kenneth Goulet. Blood red business cards? My dude.
He's bad. He's bad at everything. And
it's not great.
Stand him.
So he's gone to Ryan's father, acting class Ryan's father, and Annabeth Gish and her son, who this is just the family of a man he killed. I don't know that we know anything about him. And he is like, sometimes the cops don't get it right. This is the man who killed your person. This is where he lives. But he doesn't live there anymore now. Only Sally lives there. Because she just kicked him out. So what are we going to do? So basically the end of the episode is Annabeth Gish and her son are at a gun shop buying a gun. They're going to go kill Barry. First of all, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Second of all.
No, you're not.
Come on.
Yeah.
So that ends obviously in a little cliffhangery thing, but
also why would well, no, I know exactly why Fuchs would do this, because it's like, why are you having this, like, if you're an actual private investigator, why are you going to the victim's family being like, you should kill this person, instead of being like, let me kill this person for you? Like, I just find that very odd.
Well, I don't think he can kill Barry.
Fuchs?
Yeah.
Well, no, because he's a big giant baby.
Well, he's a big giant baby, but I think also he's mad at Barry, but I don't think he could kill Barry. Because, like, Barry couldn't kill him. They've had guns on each other before.
Well, I mean, Barry tried to. He's just slippery.
He is super slippery.
And so he got out of that. I think if they wanted to kill Fuchs, he would have killed Fuchs for sure. Like, if we didn't have more for Fuchs' storyline, he would have been hella dead.
So, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, he's just leading a trail kind of back to himself now as well.
Because, I mean, like, Kenneth Goulet, that's a name that would stick in my head. For sure.
Yeah. So what happens if Annabeth Gish is successful and then gets taken down for murdering a guy, you know? And then she's like, well, this man, Kenneth Goulet, said he killed my husband. But it's not going to hold up. None of this is going to hold water.
No,
so
not
I'm
at
confused.
All. What an idiot.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Fuchs so much.
So we will see what happens with that potentially next week.
Yay.
All right. Like and subscribe.
Yes. All the things.
Yep.
Do all the things.
Give us a comment. Very good on you, one person who figured it out.
Sam something or other?
Yeah, I navigated away from it.
Sam something or other. Yeah. We said your name earlier. Thank you.
Sammy Bear or something?
Yeah.
Very, very well done. Love to see it. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.